There's a moment in life that changes everything, and it doesn't come with fireworks or grand announcements. It arrives quietly, after a long streak of sleepless nights, after too many almosts, after trying everything from journaling and praying to hustling and manifesting, and still, nothing moves. You whisper into the sky, "Why isn't it working?" Here's the raw, liberating truth. You've been trying to force alignment with a clenched fist, but the universe doesn't respond to tension. It responds to surrender. Carl Jung once said, "What you resist not only persists, but grows in size." That means the harder you fight reality, the louder it screams back at you. On the surface, you may be saying positive affirmations, but deep in your energy, the message is, "I'm not enough. I don't have it. I'm scared." And the world listens to your energy, not your words. So why aren't your efforts working? Not because you're lazy, not because you're broken, but because you're stuck in survival mode, clinging, proving, pushing, trying to control what was never yours to command. You're trying to outrun a version of yourself that feels empty, hoping that success, love, or money will fill the void. But what if the void isn't a flaw? What if it's an invitation? Here's what Jung understood better than anyone. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. And when your identity is built on chasing, fixing, and proving, you don't magnetize peace or alignment. You mirror the same desperation you're trying to escape. So the harder you run, the further you drift. What if I told you the most powerful thing you could do right now isn't to do more, but to stop? Stop grasping. Stop fixing. Stop trying to prove. Not from fear, but from faith. Not from weakness, but from wisdom. Because when the doing stops, the becoming begins. When you finally stop interfering, your unconscious awakens. The psyche starts to self-heal. Your shadow begins to reintegrate, and reality, without warning, starts to realign on its own. This is not the end of effort. This is the beginning of surrender. Not giving up, but giving in to something deeper, timeless, and unshakably yours. Chapter 1. Stop chasing. You're blocking yourself. We've been sold a lie. That happiness is on the other side of the grind. That if you hustle long enough, push hard enough, keep manifesting, visualizing, chanting, all your desires will fall into place. But Carl Jung didn't teach us to chase. He taught us to turn inward. Why am I chasing this? That's the real question. Is it truly the thing you want, or is it the bandage for a deeper wound? When you crave love so intensely it keeps you up at night, is it love you want, or is it the fear of being abandoned again? When you chase money obsessively, is it wealth you desire? Or are you trying to finally prove to someone, maybe even yourself, that you're worth something? Jung's brilliance wasn't in motivation, it was in confrontation. He once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." This means the things we obsess over often aren't about the things themselves. They're about what we hope those things will fix inside us. But here's the trap. If the source of your desire is an unhealed wound, you will sabotage the very thing you're chasing. You'll get it, and then find a way to lose it, because you never felt worthy of it to begin with. So, the job fails. The relationship implodes. The dream slips through your fingers. Not because you're unlucky, but because the vibration behind your efforts was screaming, "I'm still broken." This is why people burn out chasing relationships that never last, jobs that drain them, dreams that keep moving further away. Not because the goal was wrong, but because the self behind the goal was still bleeding. And here's the most painful truth. If you were handed everything you've ever wanted right now, you wouldn't be able to hold it, because your hands are still trembling with old pain. Chapter 2. Heal the self, not the symptoms. This is where real transformation begins, not by chasing your goals, but by cleansing your reasons for having them. Jung wasn't interested in surface success, he was interested in what lies underneath, the shadow, the wound, the truth. He believed the unconscious must be brought into the light, because only then do we stop calling our pain destiny. Before you ask the universe for more, ask yourself, what part of me still feels empty? That's the work. Because when you stop needing external proof to feel whole, something magical happens. Your vibration changes. You stop operating from neediness and start radiating self-worth. You don't need to manifest as much as you need to remember. You were always worthy. You were always enough. You were always whole. Becoming isn't about creating a better mask. It's about removing what was never you. So, if you're tired of chasing, tired of reaching, tired of pushing, it's time to pause. Not out of laziness, but out of mastery. Because when you stop chasing what was never truly yours, you make space for what was always meant for you. Chapter 3. Detachment isn't giving up, it's awakening. Let go. Not as a sign of defeat, not because you've given up on what you want, but because you finally awakened to the truth. You were never meant to control the world. You were meant to understand yourself within it. That's detachment. And no, it doesn't mean you stop caring. It doesn't mean you become apathetic. Real detachment is about reclaiming your energy from people, expectations, and outcomes that never belonged to in the first place. It's the quiet power that says, I've done what I could. Now I release what I can't. Carl Jung understood this deeply. Transformation doesn't come from obsession. It comes from surrender, not passive resignation, but active trust, not fake apathy, but grounded alignment. You can't fake detachment. You can't scroll through social media saying, I don't care anymore, while secretly checking every 5 minutes to see if they messaged you back. The unconscious doesn't respond to your words. It responds to your vibration. So if your vibe still says, I need this to feel whole, then life will continue to reflect all the ways you are not. True detachment isn't the absence of desire. It's the absence of dependence. It's the deep knowing that whispers, even if this never comes, I am still enough. And here's the paradox. When your energy aligns with that truth, everything starts flowing. Not because you forced it, but because you stopped resisting it. Life bends for those who are already whole, not for those begging to be completed. So if you're stuck in a cycle of waiting, hoping, obsessing, pause. Not to distract yourself, but to reflect. What part of me believes that this one thing will fix everything? Because the part of you still waiting for love, for recognition, for healing. It doesn't need fixing. It needs witnessing. Not by the world, not by your partner, not by your parents, but by you. Because once you truly see yourself, without judgment, without shame, you stop looking for mirrors in other people. You become your own. And that's when life starts reflecting you, not your wounds. Chapter 4. Allow the void. And now, we enter the hardest part, after you surrender, after you release, after you let go of obsession, control, and craving. Nothing happens, no sign, no magical shift, no explosion of blessings, just silence. You wake up and your heart still aches. The job offer doesn't come. The phone is still quiet, and a voice inside you whispers, was any of that even worth it? This is the moment that breaks most people, because we've been conditioned to believe that letting go will instantly be rewarded. But the universe doesn't operate on your timeline. It moves in energetic alignment. Before it gives you what you desire, it checks. Who have you become without it? Welcome to the void. The place where your old self is gone. But your new self hasn't fully formed. There's no map here, no instructions, no proof that you're doing it right. Only stillness, only you, only a terrifying silence that demands you trust what you can't yet see. Carl Jung called this space the creative void. He said, in all chaos there is a cosmos. In all disorder, a secret order. That means what looks like nothing on the outside is actually everything on the inside. Your soul is not on pause, it's under construction. Your unconscious is rewiring. Old wounds are being released. New beliefs are forming. Your nervous system is learning to receive what you once begged for. But here's the trap. Because you can't see it happening, your ego screams, this isn't working. And if you believe that lie, you'll self-sabotage. You'll start chasing again. You'll block the very thing that was forming behind the scenes. The void is not punishment. It's purification. It strips away your need for external validation. It dismantles your addiction to outcomes. It removes your illusion of control, until the only thing left is your truth. And that's when the real shift begins. Embody before it arrives. The void asks you one question. Can you hold the energy of what you want before it arrives? Can you feel wealthy before the money comes? Can you feel loved before the relationship shows up? Can you feel free before your circumstances change? If you can, you collapse time. You become the vibration of your desire, and life has no choice but to meet you there. Because now, you're not manifesting from lack. You're becoming from alignment. But to get there, you have to pass the test. The silence, the discomfort, the sacred stillness where you feel like you're doing nothing. But in reality, you're becoming everything. So if you're in the void right now, hold your ground. Don't reach, don't chase, don't panic. Just breathe, be still, listen. Because once you master the silence, life begins to sing again. But this time, it sings in your frequency. Chapter 5. Integrate, don't obsess. Let's get honest. Every desire you feel isn't just random. It's not some cruel trick of fate, and it's definitely not the universe dangling a carrot you'll never reach. That desire, it's a message, a mirror, a spiritual assignment. Carl Jung knew this deeply. He believed that desire wasn't there to tease you. It was there to awaken you. You don't want love just to be loved. You want to feel seen. You don't crave success just for praise. You want to believe you're enough. You don't hustle for wealth just for comfort. You want to feel safe. The desire is not the problem. The attachment underneath it is. Most people obsess because they mistake yearning for action. They overcheck their phones. They reread texts like sacred scriptures. They spin in mental circles trying to control what they can't. And they call it manifestation. But Carl Jung taught us something different. He didn't say, go out and chase your dreams. He said, go inward and face yourself. Jung's process of individuation, the real work of becoming whole, isn't about adding more. It's about integrating what you've disowned. Your light and your shadow, your confidence and your fear, your ambition and your insecurity, even the parts you've been too ashamed to look at. Because when you stop trying to hide half of yourself, you stop needing the world to complete you. That's what real wholeness is. Not perfection, but integration. Let this sink in. You don't attract what you obsess over. You attract what you've made peace with. So the next time you feel that familiar pull, to chase, to push, to prove, pause. Not because you're giving up, but because you've leveled up. Take a breath and ask, what part of me still believes I need this to feel worthy? Because when you stop needing something to fix you, you start embodying the version of yourself who's already whole. And, ironically, that's when it shows up. Because now you're not manifesting from desperation. You're magnetizing from alignment. Chapter 6. Stop becoming your own blocker. This might be the hardest truth to accept. The only thing standing between you and the life you want is you, not your ex, not your childhood, not the job market, not the universe. It's you. Carl Jung said, the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. And he was right. Because true self-acceptance requires a radical confrontation with everything you've spent your life avoiding. The guilt you pretend you're over, the shame you buried under success, the fear that maybe, deep down, you're not good enough. And so what do? You don't go inward, you go outward, you hustle harder, you post affirmations, you chase goals not from belief, but from fear. You chase outcomes to avoid sitting with who you are right now. And here's the kicker, anything you chase to escape yourself will eventually become the thing that escapes you. Because you're not really trying to create your dream life, you're trying to avoid the silence, the stillness, the terrifying mirror of your own being. But the universe? It's not punishing you, it's protecting you. It knows if it gave you what you're asking for right now, you'd sabotage it, because part of you still doesn't believe you're worthy of it. The real block isn't external, it's identity. Here's the shadow truth Jung warned us about. When you don't accept yourself fully, you become fragmented. Your conscious mind says, I want more. But your unconscious says, I'm not ready. So your energy becomes a contradiction. You become a walking tug-of-war between desire and disbelief. And that energy, it doesn't attract, it repels. Because the universe responds not to what you say you want, but to what you believe you deserve. Most people live their entire lives this way, chasing the dream, but never shifting their identity. But here's your moment to break the loop. You don't need to do more. You need to become the version of yourself who no longer needs to chase. The one who already feels the abundance, the love, the peace they seek. Because once you become that, you stop asking, you stop begging, you simply receive. Not because it's magic, but because your energy finally matches your intention. The final shift, from force to frequency. So if you feel stuck right now, if it feels like the universe is ignoring you, it's not. It's reflecting you. It's saying, there's still a part of you that doesn't believe you're ready. Not to shame you, not to punish you, but to wake you up. So stop saying, why isn't it working? And start asking, what part of me still thinks I have to suffer first? Because when you evolve your identity, when you embody a self-concept built on wholeness, not lack, everything changes. Not instantly, not all at once, but powerfully, organically, from the inside out. And that's not magic. That's alignment. That's individuation. That's you, finally getting out of your own way. Chapter 7. You're not manifesting. You're remembering. Let's end with the deepest truth Carl Jung ever hinted at. Not in a bold declaration, but in a whisper beneath all his work. You're not manifesting. You're remembering. All this time, you thought you were building a life, attracting something outside of you, a relationship, a dream job, inner peace, abundance. You thought you had to work for it, to earn it, to fix something. But what if the truth is this? You were never missing anything. You simply forgot. You forgot your own wholeness, your own power, your own original blueprint. Carl Jung's genius wasn't about making people achieve more. It was about showing them they already are more. That the parts they're chasing in the world were fragments of themselves they abandoned to survive. You were born, aligned. But then life happened. The noise grew loud. The world told you to perform to be loved, to earn worth, to shrink to be accepted, to hustle just to be seen. And piece by piece you gave parts of yourself away. Not because you were weak, because you were trying to survive. And now, on this journey of growth and healing, you're not constructing a new self. You're excavating the real one. You're not manifesting a better life. You're peeling back layers of fear, shame, conditioning, trauma, until what's left is truth, stillness, clarity, power, the version of you that was always there, the soul beneath the noise. Jung never gave us a formula. He gave us a mirror. That's why Jung never gave us tips and tricks. No vision boards, no surface-level hacks. He gave us mirrors, because once you see yourself clearly, you no longer need to chase the world. You become your own source. You become your own anchor. That's when things start aligning, not because you force them, but because your frequency returned to its natural state. Not begging, not grasping, not scripting from lack, but being. And that's the real secret. Manifestation doesn't come from effort. It comes from identity. So, if you feel stuck, if you feel like you're trying to force the divine to meet your timeline, pause. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because you've forgotten who you really are. You were never here to prove. You were here to remember. You were never meant to beg. You were meant to become. The life you want? It's not outside of you. It's within the version of you who already feels whole. And once you return to that version, not forcefully, but faithfully, life begins to respond. Not because surrender is a cheat code, but because surrender is your natural state. The universe doesn't meet desperation. It meets authenticity. It meets self-awareness. It meets wholeness. And that's what this journey is. Not forward, but inward. Not chasing, but remembering. Not manifesting, but returning. Audience interaction. Ending. The shift starts now. If even one sentence in this video stirred something in you, don't just scroll away. This wasn't just a video. It was a mirror. Maybe, like Jung said, you've just met yourself, again, in another disguise. So if you're ready to stop chasing, to stop begging for a future that's already inside you, comment below, I'm not manifesting, I'm remembering. Not for likes, not for attention, but to signal your unconscious mind. This time I choose stillness over chaos, self over survival, truth over illusion. Hit like, not for the algorithm, but as an anchor, a declaration to your nervous system that this moment mattered, that something cracked open, that you cracked open. And subscribe, not for content, but for connection. This isn't just a channel, it's a journey, a community for souls ready to remember who they are beneath the masks. And most importantly, share this with someone who's been chasing love, validation, success, anything except themselves. Because Carl Jung said, your vision will become clear only when you look into your heart. Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakens. Maybe this is that moment, the one where you stop running, where you turn inward, where the real awakening begins. You don't have to prove anymore. You don't have to earn it. You only have to allow it. Stillness isn't weakness. It's rebellion. It's power. It's peace. Welcome back. You didn't lose your path. You just forgot where home was. And now, you remember.